Hi Stampers, I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and in the almost 18 years that I've been a Demonstrator, one of the things that I have learned is that everyone loves a sneak peek, right? So I have a sneak peek project for you that features some things that are available now in December of 2019 and a couple things that you'll have to wait till January 3rd to get. Unless you want to sign up to be a Demonstrator, I would love for you to join my LovenStamps Demonstrator family. Anyway, if you are a Demonstrator or you're getting the Demonstrator starter kit in December, you can pre-order all this good stuff right now. You don't have to wait. Otherwise, keep your wish list till January 3rd, but know that the stamp set and the dies for A Wish for Everything and the Word Windows dies that are a very real feature for this, those you can go ahead and get in December and get the tutorials for free. Okay, but you want to see the project? Here it is. It features my absolute favorite punch and stamp set from the upcoming January to June mini catalog, which if you haven't seen the cover of is super fun with all the poppies on it. Anyway, really great punch and stamp, and you can see how we've used to make a DSP card-based card, which is kind of my favorite thing right now. So I have tons of DSP card-based ideas on my YouTube channel and on my blog at LovenStamps, so you want to check those out. But let me give you some tips and tricks, especially for how to work with these vellum circles here, because there are definitely some things you're going to want to know so that you have some really pretty finished products. So ready? Let's get stamping. So what are you going to do when you have all these absolutely gorgeous designer series papers, just such beautiful patterns and such beautiful colors, and just they're huge, right? So what do you do? Well, the answer is you make a DSP card-based card. And if you visit my website at LovenStamps.com, you can find a whole mess of DSP card-based cards. In fact, why don't I show you some of them? These are all cards that are available with the designer series paper and stamp sets in the Stampin' Up Annual Catalog, which you can learn about on my website at LovenStamps.com. But here is one featuring this peacock set, and gorgeous vivid colors, super saturated. Here is one of my favorites using the Come Sail Away bundle and stamps, so pretty there. And then these flowers, pressed flowers, beautiful here. And one of the keys of using a DSP card-based card is that when you have the paper, it's just a little bit lighter weight than the cardstock that we'd normally use for card bases. So it's really important to put a big layer inside it like this. This one's even a double layer to give the card just a little bit more stability. And then here's Magnolia Lane. Now some of these you can get video tutorials for on my blog, plus some others, so you can check those out. But let's go ahead and start with one here. These cards are so simple to do. All you need is to start with a paper trimmer and a strip of designer series paper. And I usually make them 4 inches wide instead of 4 1/4. So 4 1/4 would be a normal card, but why limit yourself to just 2 cards per sheet of DSP? And then the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to score. So I'm using my scoring blade instead of my cutting blade at 1 inch there, and then I'm going to score at 5 1/2 inches. Okay. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us the center score line of our card, and then it's going to give us this extra little bit at the end. And because both sides of the designer series paper are beautiful, then it's a really neat thing to just do that, because then you're folding back the coordinating cardstock color. Now the directions for this card are in the packet, in the downloadable PDF that you get from purchasing from my online store in December, but I'm going to go ahead and just share them with you here. So I'm going to start off with a piece of matching cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and, because this layer is going to want to pull up all the time, I'm actually going to go ahead and insist by using tear tape that my layers stay together. And so I'm going to pop this underneath here and use that as a guide so that I can keep my paper straight, and then use my paper snips. There they are, hiding under my next card. I mean, that one's just begging to be turned into my next DSP card base, right? And then the next thing I'm going to do is embellish this edge just a little bit by adding some ribbon. And I will go ahead and pop on the under edge of this. I'm going to actually do this by putting 2 layers of tear tape here. One that's going to trap our ribbon and one that's going to keep our flap down. So I'll peel these babies off. Remember, if you have trouble getting the edge off, you want to just push down harder and then peel rather than trying to struggle with it. So I'm gonna pop this under the edge here and adhere that there with our tear tape and just really burnish that so that it's a nice strong edge and trim that. Okay, so there we have just a really great blank palette, right? So to add to this, I'm going to incorporate a vellum circle that is cut using the Stitched Shapes Framelit dies, which are always at my fingertips. Use them all the time. And the Word Wishes dies, which are numerous and fabulous. So all kinds of different greetings for different holidays that you might not want a whole stamp set for, St. Patrick's Day, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this on here, but I felt like we needed some great embellishments and some great greetings. And so I'm going to use my Blushing Blossom ink pad, Blushing Bride, sheesh, ink pad, and then our Easter greetings. We have Easter, so there's a number of ways you could, you know, make that more interesting or add more words to it. I'm going to go with wishing you a and the word happy. So I have happy and I just need wishing you. So stamping our 2 bits, and both of these are going to be cut out into strips. So I'm not going to worry too much about where I am stamping them. And if it's bothering you that I have a Stampin' Dimensional stuck to my scissors, I will tell you it's bothering me a little bit too. So don't worry, I'll get it fixed here shortly. All right, so I have a wishing you a, and I'm going to add a little banner tail to that. And then happy, we're just going to make a square. And then these are going to go together with our Easter greeting. And then, okay, you ready for the sneak peek? Ta-da! The Timeless Tulip stamp set and the Tulip Builder Punch. I love tulips, and this one is absolutely beautiful. It is so pretty, in fact, that I used it to make the calendars that I send out to my customers this year. So you'll have to stay tuned and watch my blog for a preview on those. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp us 2 tulips for our Easter card here. And pop those on there. Now, there's a leaf punch that's part of this, so you may have to make sure you do the correct one first, because if I do this one first, I'm going to punch a hole in my tulip. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that first one out, and then pop my second one out. And there's so many fun things that you can do with this punch, in addition to just kind of using the plain. You can also use those extra little bits to make like an extra layer, but I'm going to keep it plain, and I'm going to use the green here with my soft seafoam ink pad and stamp here on my soft seafoam cardstock in coordinating color, because color on color is a really great way to add sort of a subtle effect to something. We're going to put our greetings on, and you can pop some snail on the back, you can pop some fine tip glue pen on the back, kind of whatever makes you happy. And I'm going to do happy, and I'm going to do the wishing you a, and go ahead and put these kind of 2 a little bit staggered. And then we're going to add our Easter, and for that I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen Rock Star glue here, and hands down best choice for this kind of project. So it has a little needle in it that keeps the glue channel open and ready to use. And when I first open, I just shake it down a little bit to get the glue to the action end here. And I'm going to pop our Have a Happy Easter right on there. And then I'm going to hold it for a second because it actually doesn't grab instantly. It wants to have a chance to. Maybe I'll just go ahead and pop a block on it. It wants to go ahead and have a chance to grab on its own. So I'm going to put some snail here on the back of our first tulip. Go ahead and pop that down. And then our second tulip, I'm actually going to apply with some Stampin' Dimensionals, and here are a couple of those. And when I do this, I'm going to go ahead and trap our extra leaf underneath it, and you can use the leaf a number of different ways. You can vary the shape of your leaf to kind of add extra interest to your tulip bunches, or kind of however you're doing them. And I'm going to pop this extra tulip on right there. And now we have our circle to go back and attach. And you can see adhesive through vellum, just like you can see my finger through there. So the best thing about having these greetings on is that I can cut pieces of Stampin' dimensional backings to pop right there on the back of my vellum, and they're hidden by those little cute white layers of cardstock. So they serve sort of dual purpose there in adding that extra place for me to stick with, and also kind of a fun element. So I'm going to tuck this just underneath our tulips there. So there is the front of our card, so just a really fun Easter card. And then on the inside I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock cut, and you're going to go ahead and stamp the inside with one of the Wish for Everything greetings, which is for Easter. May the beauty of Easter fill your heart with hope. And here is our finished card. You can add a couple tulips to it, and you're all set. Tulips, actually, let me show you a little bit of a trick about these tulips. So you'll notice that I have two, and they are overlapping each other. So the way you do that is you make yourself a mask. And so I'm going to go ahead and plant my tulip, and then I'm going to add my punchy piece. And then you'll notice too, since you can see through, that I actually added it over to the side. There's almost the edge showing there of my tulip, so that it gives you a nice tight margin, just a little bit of extra space to kind of set off. And I'm going to move my Post-it note over, and when I cut it, here's the sticky, I punched it from the sticky side. Then I can go ahead and add my leaf, and go ahead and add a leaf to the same right there. So there is our tulip greeting, and then you can add your greeting. May the beauty of Easter fill your heart with hope, and you have your finished card. So lots of just beautiful possibilities for this, and really Rockstar, the Tulip Builder, and sneak preview of Timeless Tulips. So when I say sneak preview, I mean that this will be available beginning on January 3rd in the Occasions catalog, or the January to June mini catalog. So that will be coming up soon. If you don't have one of those catalogs yet, make sure you reach out and ask me for one. I send those for free to all my customers, so you should have one already if you've ordered from me in the last year. And I look forward to sharing more projects with you soon with a stamp set. And then, of course, you're going to want to have these gorgeous Perennial Designer Series paper project ideas for doing with the Word Wishes dies and the Wish for Everything stamps. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. Click the little bell so be notified when I post new videos. And I wish you all the very best. If you're watching this in December, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. Have a wonderful winter break. And if you're watching it later because you wanted to see tulips and the Perennial Essence Designer Series paper, know that this card, these pieces can be used for projects all year long. Lots and lots of great ideas. Obviously, you wouldn't put Easter on it, but you know, birthdays, congratulations, thank yous, thinking of you all year long. Tulips, Perennial Essence Designer Series paper. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to sharing more projects with you soon. Happy stamping!